Okay, so this is the chemiluminescence NO2 analyzer I was talking about. It's made by Thermo Environmental Instruments, model 42. So basically what I wanted to do is just run through the basic components and the push buttons, describe what I know about them and where I am having troubles with them. So when we turn it on, we see that it says hello, just like it's supposed to according to the manual, and then it's going into an NO and NO2 run mode, which is just the basic auto run that it goes into after startup. If we open this up, we can see that the chamber vacuum pressure is reading roughly 17 inches of mercury. The converter temperature here is set to 325 degrees. I don't know if you can see that. The video quality isn't the best. We have flow through both the ozone and the sample lines. Right now it's set to run mode, and the ozonator and PMT are both on. So I'll close this up. Basically, how I understand the NO2 analyzer works is that you send a sample of NO nitric oxide through. The nitric oxide reacts with ozone, which then this reaction produces NO2 and O2 as well as light. And from the light that's emitted, it is analyzed, or the PMT analyzes the amount of light that's emitted, and from that you can measure the concentration of nitric oxide produced or in the sample. You can also send nitrogen dioxide through. The nitrogen dioxide reacts with molybdenum. This reaction then produces NO and molybdenum oxide, if I'm not mistaken. And from the original NO reading, or original calibration of NO, it'll be able to tell how much NO2 is in the sample that you're sending through. So basically, like I said, I just wanted to go through these push buttons and try and describe what I know that they do. So the first push button, this one, is REM. It just stands for remote, and that allows for remote to set different aspects of the instrument remotely through the wires in the back, I guess. We don't have that hooked up, so it's not really of great concern to me at this moment. The next push button, ENT, just stands for enter, and that just allows you to enter in specific values from these dial switches down here. So whatever you set this dial switch in, when you hit enter, that's what it sets the value at. The next push button is 0/FS. It stands for 0 and full scale, so when you press it, it allows for a 0 reading. So what you do is you send through 0 air through the 0 air line, and you wait, let's say 3 to 5 minutes, and then you set this down here to 0. You hit enter, and that should be your 0 reading. If you hit it again, this is the full scale reading. I don't know if the full scale reading is reading NO or NO2. I'm assuming it's reading NO, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, you send the full amount of whatever gas this reading calls for 3 to 5 minutes. You dial in this amount down here. Let's say it's 500 parts per billion, pretty sure. And then you hit enter again, and that'll be your full scale. If you hit it again, then you'll see this -23 pop up. This -23 is telling you that it's about to go through a span from -23% of the 0 to 100%. So then it'll start going through this span, and you can see it counting up. Once we stop it, we can stop it at any point. I don't know why it starts at minus 23. It just does. Anyway, let's say we want 10% of the false value, so we stop it at 10%, let it run for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we start it back up again, and it'll just keep going, and we can stop it whenever we want to. So let's say 20%, and we can just continue this up. I don't know how accurate this is without doing an initial calibration with this cal button. I don't know which one you should do first. I feel like you should do this one first and then the 0 to full scale, or maybe the 0 to full scale first, but I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, once we do that, then we have this display button, which was working. I could get it to work earlier, but now it doesn't seem to be doing anything. What it'll do is it'll run through the different, the NO, NO2, or NOx that's being measured. Let's just see. Why isn't this working now? I don't know. I don't understand. This display button, if you turn it on, it seems like if you turn it on without pressing anything and it just goes into its run mode, then the display button works. But as soon as you start pressing buttons, it stops working. And I haven't figured it out why. It's probably something I'm doing rather than the instrument. Anyway, the next button is this calibrate button, CAL. We push it, and it should allow for a calibration of first NO. When you push it again, NO2, and then the third actuation is NOx. But let's try. If I hit enter, if I hit calibrate. See, I haven't quite figured this out yet, as you can tell. So if we let it run for 3 to 5 minutes, then let's say we are saying 100 parts per million, I think is what I've dialed in. We hit enter, then it changes its value. If we hit it again, I thought it would change. Maybe we have to hit display. Okay, there we go. Now we see the H. So then you let it run and you enter in, I'm assuming H stands for NO2, so this might be the NO2 measurement, which this I don't think can read up to that amount. I think the highest amount it can read is 100 parts per million, so that wouldn't make any sense. But anyway, then it goes back to this L. I haven't quite figured out if the L and the H stands for NO, NO2, or NOx. I don't know which ones they mean. Anyway, yeah, it just, oh, here's the 2. So there's, right now there's 3 different ones, L, H, and 2. And it starts on L, so I'm assuming L is NO, H is NO2, and then 2 is NOx, but I could be mistaken. Anyway, that's the calibrate button. The next button, stat, just shows different statuses of the instrument. So basically F scale is just the full scale reading. And again, I don't know if this is the full scale of NO or full scale of NO2. If we hit display, it doesn't display anything. Maybe we just dial something in and hit enter, and then it changes it without us being able to see what the actual amount is. I don't know. Anyway, we hit it again. This is